Hello folks, welcome back to my channel, Miles for Barnsy. I've got a fairly interesting one for you today. It's a little bit subjective, but I think it's an interesting little image. It's a NASA image, and it was taken by the Hirise. That's the photojournal location for it, and it was a 15.56 megabyte Tiff, and it's a cracking image, but there's that much obfuscation on it and that much detail taken out of it that it's very difficult to it's the usual, you know, there's no way that these images are the best that this camera can resolve. I mean, this is one of the most amazing cameras ever sent into space to another planet, and it can see, basically it could see something in the region of like a human child, you know, 3 foot tall basically, and we should be getting some amazing clear images, but we never ever do we? Now, why don't we get these clear amazing images? Because they would show the remains of a civilization on Mars. Simple as that. And for some reason they're not telling us the truth and lying to us. I mean, there's actually evidence all over this image of artificial structures, sculptures, roads, walls, you name it, it's all here, but it's been obscured that much that it's very difficult to bring it out clear enough to show people. It's so frustrating, it really is. Yeah, and I know it's there in the image, I can see it myself personally, but it's just not good enough. Some of the objects and artifacts just are not good enough for me to put on YouTube. They're too easily dismissed. I mean, what I'm going to show you now is easily dismissed, but because of the quality of the images, there's very little I can do about that. I can only point out what I think are artificial constructs, and then put it out there, and then leave it to your good selves to decide whether you think that it's it's a legitimate anomaly or it's a natural geological structure. You know, this image is supposed to be like a small mountain range, and the way the image has been shown, you would just think that this was just flat terrain. Everything you see here, it's just a smooth flat terrain with a lot of white lines going across it. Okay, but this side here is not flat in any shape or form. It's very unusual. This side's a bit flatter, but even that has got unusual rectangular shapes in it, which you might just be able to see there. Very strange. But this side here is not flat at all. But the way the image is being published, it's being that oversaturated and obfuscated, you'd just think it was one smooth, you know, smooth 2D image, but it's not, and I'll show you the reason why. I've called this image, by the way, the real Castle Grayskull, because of this very unusual structure anomaly. If you just zoom in here, if you have a look closely there, you can actually see what looks like a massive face that's being carved into the ground, and I think that's exactly what that is. Here you can see the nose. See that dome-like structure is the nose. There's actually an entrance on it with a little pathway going into it. There's the chin, there's the mouth, and there's the eye. But I'll show you it again in a minute. Okay, this is it laying flat. Okay, but I'll show you it on its side the way it's supposed to be seen. Well, I think the way it's supposed to be seen anyway. First thing we've got to do is flip it round, because it's not being portrayed the way it should be, because this is the angle really where we can see the anomalies. And straight away, if you have a look at this here, you can see what looks like a skull, a giant skull, and that's exactly what I think it is. I think it's something that's being carved into the rock, and it portrays a skull. Now, whether these caves or whatever you want to call them were natural, and then the culture that lived here come along and carved this into a skull, I don't know. But either way, what you're looking at there is an area that's being carved and constructed in such a way that it looks like a skull. Yeah, there's that face I was talking about, and this is the angle I think it's meant to be seen from. You can see an eye, you can see the nose, you can see the mouth area, the chin, and there's the neck here. Yeah, and if you come across here, we can see another sculpture just there, and this one looks like a woman, very tall, slender woman, with an elaborate hairdo. Now, don't forget, some of these aren't like standalone sculptures as such, because take this woman here. Just let me see if I can smooth that out a little tiny bit. See, it's so frustrating. The picture quality is so poor. It just makes it so difficult to bring out. But take this. It looks like a woman, right, with an elaborate hairdo. You see her eyes, her nose, her mouth, her arm coming out here, and there's the body, and she's actually sitting down. I'll show you another image in a minute that I think is a little tiny bit clearer, and she's actually sitting down here. But what it actually is, right, the hair is like a pathway, but it's being shaped in a particular way, so that from a distance it looks like a hairstyle, if you know what I mean. And see, I can't even like zoom in that close, but these here are like little cave entrances. See these dark spots? This is like a pathway, and these little black circles here are entrances into structures. Yeah, and this part here is like, that's also a pathway, and that mostly leads into a mouth, because a lot of the mouths on these sculptures are actually entrances into underground dwellings. Yeah, if you come across, look at that structure there. See that structure? You can just about make it out there. It's got like a platform there. It's got like a round circular dome on top, and then it's got entrances underneath it, so you could walk underneath that. And there's structures here. There's actually structures all over this, but because of the poor quality of the image, it's very, very difficult to make them out. And really, I'm just showing you like general features that are a little tiny bit subjective, because you can obviously dismiss them as being natural geological formations, but I can assure you that they're not. That's a sculpture of a face there. That is a skull. that's a woman who she might have been a queen or something like that. And you know, there's all sorts of structures like that all over this area. Yeah, there's something here, but it's being blurred out. There's like an entrance into the cliff face here. See them pathways all around it? I don't know what was there. I don't know whether it's statues or what, but it's being definitely blurred out. Along this alcove, I think the statues there again, they're being very, very effectively blurred out. You can just see them very, very slightly under different lighting conditions, but it's touch and go sometimes as to, you know, being able to bring them out, and I don't have the time to do it in front of you here. The nose of the skull is actually structures. You see, like the circular top, and there's like there's like buildings inside there. Yeah, but this here, on the face of it, it just looks like a mad chaotic scene of white line of lines here, there and everywhere. And at first glance it does look chaotic, it does, but there is a pattern to this. There is a geometric pattern, and there's like there seems to have been a purpose in this, and this is actually like a valley. It's not flat. They would like us to think that this was all flat and there was nothing here, but this here is like a valley. Just let me see if I can lower the brightness down and raise the contrast a little tiny bit. Okay, so I've taken the brightness right down, okay, and it sort of brings up these white lines that you can see, which, by the way, I'm pretty certain are pathways or roads. I'm pretty certain that's what they are. Okay, so we'll leave it at that colour range. But that's even brought the skull up a little bit better. Can you see that? It's brought up this lady here a little bit better, with the hairdo and the eyes and a very long body, and she's like sitting down on some kind of throne. Yeah, it's brought the skull out, the eyes, the bridge of the nose, the mouth area, and you can just see like the bottom part of the jaw. Don't forget there's structures within here. There's roads. There's all sorts within this, but very skillfully hidden. There's that other face there. You see that? The nose and the eye and the mouth. And can you see that structure? That does stand out a little bit. That you can see that it looks artificial, doesn't it? And all these here, all these white lines are pathways and roads. There's that. Can you see that entrance there? Like a big entrance. And whatever is here has been effectively blurred out. Yeah. Look at them little structures there, all around that area, and the structures here next to the nose. But anyway, let's go back to this. Like I say, at first it looks completely chaotic, but it's not. It's quite the opposite. Seems to be like a ridge going along here, like a wall, right? And what we can see here are little areas that seem to have been sectioned out of the sides of this cliff, because this is a cliff. This drops down, right? This, from this ridge here, this drops down into a valley. Yeah. And I don't know whether it's some kind of industrial area, I don't know whether it's symbolic in some way for them, but just let me show you what I mean here. I'm drawing along the pathways, right, so that you can see that it's not chaotic, it's not crazy. There's actually a pattern within this. Now all I'm doing is following these white paths, these white lines. Yeah, so I know some of them are difficult to see, but I think I'm pretty accurate in drawing these. And if you just follow where I'm drawing the white line, you can see that I'm only drawing over the pathways. Yeah, and I'm hoping that you can see that I'm not drawing these in willy-nilly. These are along already placed pathways. Here they're it's a little bit more difficult, but because it seems to be more eroded here. Okay, so this area is a little bit more eroded, but I can assure you they do come to a point, and this is the point here. It seems to be around this area here. Okay, so as you can see, there's one rectangle, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we've actually got a pattern. So it's not random geological formations here. There's an actual physical rhythm to it. There's a pattern to it that is not a mistake in any shape or form. Right? You can even see here. You can even see what may have been, you know, like a square area that seems to have been dug out of the rock, and each one of these squares is deep. It goes down. These roads must be on like little tiny ridges that crisscross these deep sections. So this isn't a smooth flat surface. It's a valley of some sort, and is the ridge at the top. So we're getting deceived straight away on this image. Yeah. And there's another pattern in this as well, which I'll show you now. So just let me get rid of this layer. Right. There's another pattern here, and it consists of triangles. It seems to be like triangular shapes, which is quite interesting. It's a little bit let's see if I can. So I'm not following now the squares. Can you see that? Can you see that? So we've got interlocking triangles. There is more, but this side, the right hand side, seems to be very eroded. You can see these roads all interconnect with one another, but it's very difficult to see. And the biggest triangle is this one, where it comes down to here and then comes back up along here and then this way. This is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing patterns within this. So it's not chaotic, and it does seem to have some kind of purpose. Okay. And there's other interesting stuff within this image. There seems to be like geoglyphs that seem to be carved into the rock. Okay, so what I'm going to do is see that. See, look at that skull there. There's absolutely no way that is a natural geological feature. You've got that carving, then you've got that one. You've got this. You've got these little structures here. Structures all over the place. Then you've got what seems to be some kind of valley with geometric shapes and patterns. Okay, let's come out of that. And just let me open this one. I've just done it in black and white. It was only to highlight some of the structures a little tiny bit. But can you see that? See that structure there? And these are like pathways here. See these very light areas? These are like pathways. And that's like a hexagon shape. There's like a dome here with like support columns on it. And this has got support columns on it, and you can walk under that. It's like a multi-layer structure of some sort. And these are all these white lines here are all pathways in between structures. I mean, look at this here. There's like a multi-level structures, and if you were standing there, you could walk under that. See that cave entrance? It's not a cave entrance, but it is an entrance into these structures. Look at that. That's a structure. And can you see the face on the lady there? And that's a pathway. And there must be an entrance there, but it's blurred out. Yeah. Okay. Let's close that one. Now this is one that I used the burn tool on, and it come up with some weird stuff, really weird stuff. But I'll show you it. But like I say, it's very subjective. I mean, it's easily dismissed. I mean, I happen to think that they are geoglyphs, what I'm about to show you now, but because it's subjective, you can dismiss it. But I'll show you it anyway, and then you can make up your own mind. Okay. But can you see, like, there is patterns there within these roads, because I think the roads. I also happen to think that here we're looking at some kind of destroyed or eroded city. You see, look at that. You see that? Looks like support beams. There's all walls here. It looks like a very ancient eroded city. There's all sorts of structures above here. See that? Can you see them? Look at that square 90-degree angle with a dome on top. These structures, all eroded and destroyed. See, you can't even zoom in on it because it just goes all pixelated. Yeah, and when I followed these patterns here in the rock, it seemed to show it shows some kind of face. Yeah, you see the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and it seems to be made up of diamond shapes. See the diamond shape there? Perfect diamond. There's another diamond shape here, and this is diamonds. There's like 1, 2, 3, definitely 3 diamond shapes, and there's most probably more, but they're very, very eroded. But when I put the burn tool on them to see what was there, I got this come up, and it seems to show like like an individual's face here, and I get to see this. I get the impression that these roads or lines, whatever you want, form a hand. See these? Like these are the fingers. So you've got the arm comes up. You've got the fingers, which are most probably structures and eroded buildings, and then above it you've got this rectangular-like feature. So it's as if you've got this individual here holding onto this, and I've got to say it looks like a gun. It looks like a weapon. I haven't put that in. That's there. All I've done is put the burn tool on to bring it out and followed the line that's there. Yeah, but it's very subjective. You know, I might have put the burn tool in the wrong areas. I don't know. I don't think I have, but it's very, very provocative and very unusual. I'm even seeing another individual there, and it's like a rectangular square area here, and these, in my humble opinion, are definitely roads. You've got like a circular structure here sticking up out of this hole, and there's 1, 2, 3 roads or pathways leading to that structure there, and then these roads crisscross it, making these patterns. Okay guys, I hope you found it interesting. There's 1 or 2 little things that I thought I might be able to bring out and show you. I definitely think that NASA are covering up what is most probably a city of some sort, very highly eroded, destroyed, but I think it existed there one time, and I think there's enough evidence in this image to indicate that they've tried to obscure what was actually here. Okay guys, I hope you found it interesting, and I've got some really good stuff coming up soon about Cydonia. I'm gonna show you some of the things that I discovered in that region, and they're absolutely brilliant, honestly, and that'll be coming up very soon. Okay then guys, thanks for watching. I hope you found it interesting, and I'll see you next video. Bye bye.